The Cogitating Ceviché presents Thomas Carlyle, the satirical sage of the industrial age, honoring the overlooked satirists and thinkers who altered our perspectives, number 27, by Conrad Hannon, narration by Amazon Polly. Preface. Welcome to the 27th edition of our series, honoring the overlooked satirists and thinkers who altered our perspectives. In this installment, we turn our focus to Thomas Carlyle, a towering figure of the 19th century whose incisive wit and sharp social critiques have left an indelible mark on literary history. Carlyle was celebrated as a historian, essayist, and satirist, and he used his formidable intellect to dissect and critique the moral and spiritual shortcomings of the industrial age. His works, rich with irony, parody, and philosophical depth, challenge readers to look beyond the surface of societal norms and question the true values underpinning their lives. Through his innovative use of satire, Carlyle exposed the absurdities and hypocrisies of his time, offering insights that remain strikingly relevant today. As we explore Carlyle's contributions, we invite you to delve into the intricate layers of his satire, appreciating how his unique perspective continues to influence and inspire. Join us in celebrating the legacy of Thomas Carlyle, whose sharp pen and keen observations remind us of the enduring power of satire to provoke thought and drive change. Conrad Hannon. Introduction. Thomas Carlyle, a towering figure of the 19th century, distinguished himself as a historian, essayist, and satirist whose works remain influential in dissecting the complexities of the industrial age. Known for his penetrating insights and sharp wit, Carlyle used satire to critique the socio-economic transformations of his time. His unique blend of humor and serious critique offered a profound commentary on the moral and spiritual challenges of his era's rapid industrialization and materialism. Through his writings, Carlyle illuminated the contradictions and follies of contemporary society, making him a pivotal figure in both literary and social discourse. Early life and influences. Background. Thomas Carlyle was born on December 4, 1795, in the small village of Icklefechan in Dumfries and Galloway, Scotland. His early life was deeply influenced by his Calvinist upbringing, which instilled a strong sense of discipline, moral rigor, and an appreciation for hard work. This religious background profoundly shaped his worldview, infusing his writings with moral earnestness and focusing on life's spiritual and ethical dimensions. Education and early career. Carlyle's intellectual journey began at the University of Edinburgh, where he enrolled at 14. Initially, he pursued a career in the church, reflecting his upbringing and his family's expectations. However, Carlyle soon became disillusioned with the ministry, finding its dogmatic constraints at odds with his burgeoning intellectual curiosity. During his university years, Carlyle was introduced to a wide array of classical and contemporary literature, which broadened his perspectives and deepened his passion for learning. This intellectual awakening led him to shift his focus from theology to literature and writing. Embracing the life of a scholar and writer, Carlyle began to explore his time's profound social and philosophical questions, setting the stage for his later work as a satirist and critic of industrial society. Literary career. Transition to satire. Thomas Carlyle's transition to satire was driven by his profound disillusionment with the industrial society and its rampant materialism. As he observed the sweeping changes brought about by the Industrial Revolution, Carlyle became increasingly critical of the era's focus on economic growth and technological advancement at the expense of spiritual and moral values. This growing dissatisfaction prompted him to harness satire as a powerful tool to critique the societal norms and values that he found hollow and dehumanizing. Carlyle's decision to employ satire allowed him to address the contradictions and absurdities of his time with a sharp, biting wit. Through his satirical works, he sought to expose the underlying moral and spiritual crises masked by the facade of progress and prosperity. By blending humor with serious critique, Carlyle aimed to provoke thought and inspire change in his readers. Key periods and locations. A significant period in Carlyle's literary career was his time spent in London, a city that served as a vibrant hub of intellectual and cultural activity. Moving to London in the early 1830s, Carlyle quickly became part of the city's influential literary circles. His friendships with notable figures such as John Stuart Mill and Ralph Waldo Emerson played a crucial role in shaping his thoughts and works. John Stuart Mill, a leading philosopher and political economist, introduced Carlyle to new ideas and perspectives, enriching his intellectual toolkit. Mill's encouragement and support were instrumental in Carlyle's early successes. Ralph Waldo Emerson, the American transcendentalist, shared a deep philosophical kinship with Carlyle, fostering a transatlantic exchange of ideas that further honed Carlyle's critical approach. These interactions and the stimulating environment of London provided Carlyle with the inspiration and platform to develop his satirical voice. Surrounded by thinkers and writers who challenged conventional wisdom, Carlyle's critiques of industrial society became more pointed and profound, cementing his reputation as a formidable satirist and social commentator. Major works and themes: Sartor Resartus, 1833–1834. Thomas Carlyle's Sartor Resartus, published serially between 1833 and 1834, stands out as one of his most influential works, blending satire with philosophical inquiry. Plot and structure. Sartor Resartus, which translates to "The Tailor Retailored," is framed as a fictional commentary on the writings of a German philosopher, Diogenes Teufelsdruck. The book is presented as the work of an English editor attempting to make sense of Teufelsdruck's chaotic and seemingly nonsensical manuscript on the philosophy of clothes. Carlyle explores profound questions about the nature of reality, truth, and human existence through this unconventional narrative structure. Satirical elements. Carlyle employs parody and irony throughout Sartor Resartus to critique the materialism and social conventions of his time. By choosing clothing as a central metaphor, Carlyle satirizes the superficial values of society, suggesting that people's outward appearances often conceal their true nature. The whimsical and exaggerated character of Teufelsdruck serves as a vehicle for Carlyle to mock the pretentiousness and vacuity of contemporary philosophical and literary trends. The work's layered narrative, with its blend of absurdity and profound insight, allows Carlyle to engage in a biting critique of the industrial age's focus on outward appearances and material success. His use of irony exposes the hollowness of societal norms and the disconnect between surface and substance. Impact. Sartor Resartus is considered a precursor to existential and modernist literature. Its innovative narrative structure and thematic exploration of existential questions influenced later writers who sought to break free from traditional literary forms. Carlyle's ability to weave satire with philosophical musings paved the way for authors like Friedrich Nietzsche and Franz Kafka, who similarly used fiction to explore complex ideas about human existence and societal values. The work's enduring relevance lies in its challenge to readers to look beyond appearances and question the deeper truths of their existence, making Sartor Resartus a seminal text in the evolution of literary and philosophical thought. Style and influence. Satirical techniques. Thomas Carlyle's satirical techniques are central to his literary style, allowing him to dissect and critique his time's social and moral issues with sharp wit and insight. Parody. Carlyle skillfully employs parody by mimicking various literary and philosophical styles to highlight their inherent absurdities. In Sartor Resartus, for instance, the character of Diogenes Teufelsdruck parodies the grandiose and often convoluted prose of German idealist philosophers. By exaggerating their style and content, Carlyle exposes the pretentiousness and lack of practical wisdom in contemporary intellectual circles. Irony. Irony is a cornerstone of Carlyle's satire, contrasting appearance with reality to reveal more profound truths. He frequently juxtaposes the lofty ideals professed by society with the sordid realities of human behavior. This technique is evident in his portrayal of industrial progress, where the promise of prosperity and advancement often masks the exploitation and moral decay underpinning it. Exaggeration. Carlyle uses exaggeration to amplify the flaws and vices of individuals in society, thereby underscoring the need for moral and spiritual reformation. In his works, characters and situations are often depicted in extreme terms to emphasize their folly or corruption, making the critique memorable and impactful. Reflection of second sophistic. Carlyle's style reflects the influence of the Second Sophistic, a period marked by the revival of rhetorical flourishes and classical ideas. His writing is rich with elaborate language and classical allusions, drawing on ancient Greek and Roman rhetoric traditions. This classical influence adds depth to his satire, connecting contemporary issues with timeless human behavior and societal organization themes. Legacy in satirical literature. Thomas Carlyle's impact on satirical literature is profound, influencing a wide range of writers and contributing to the development of literary forms. Influence on writers. Carlyle's satirical approach and philosophical depth resonated with writers like Charles Dickens, John Ruskin, and George Bernard Shaw. Dickens, in particular, was influenced by Carlyle's social criticism, which is evident in works like Hard Times. Ruskin admired Carlyle's moral earnestness, while Shaw drew inspiration from Carlyle's critiques of societal hypocrisy and his calls for social reform. Contribution to the development of Menippean satire. Carlyle's blend of prose and philosophical discourse contributed to the evolution of Menippean satire, a form that critiques mental attitudes rather than specific individuals or social conditions. By intertwining narrative with philosophical reflection, Carlyle expanded the scope of satire, allowing it to address broader existential and ethical questions. His work laid the groundwork for later satirists who sought to explore complex ideas through the lens of humor and critique. Through his innovative use of satire, Carlyle not only provided sharp commentary on the issues of his day but also left an enduring legacy that continues to influence and inspire satirical writing. Conclusion. Thomas Carlyle's contributions to literature are profound and far-reaching. As a historian, essayist, and satirist, Carlyle used his sharp intellect and keen observational skills to critique his industrial society's moral and spiritual deficiencies. Through works like Sartor Resartus, he employed satire to expose the absurdities of materialism and the superficial values that dominated his time. His innovative use of parody, irony, and exaggeration entertained and provoked deep reflection on societal norms and human behavior. Carlyle's satirical perspectives remain enduringly relevant, resonating with modern audiences who continue to grapple with issues of materialism, superficiality, and ethical decay. His ability to intertwine humor with serious critique provides a timeless model for addressing contemporary challenges through literary means. Carlyle's legacy is evident in the works of subsequent writers who have drawn inspiration from his techniques and themes, ensuring that his voice continues to echo in the annals of literary history. Thank you for your time today. Until next time, stay gruntled.